now I decided to give this whole creating videos, creating content a go. Because, you know, why the hell not? One way to share one of my many hobbies, which is basically makeup. My name is Marang. I'm from Botswana originally. I live in Australia, Melbourne in particular. And for a living, I'm a doctor. That's what I do by day. But as with most women, you know, or not even women, but just people who love the beauty and makeup space. I'm really into beauty and makeup. So in my career, I don't actually have a lot of ways to express my creativity, because medicine can be quite rigid and you know, very rule-based, that sort of thing. So the way that I express my creativity is basically through fashion and makeup. That's how I express myself, really. I mean, I do other things in the creative space, but this is probably the easiest way that on a daily basis I can express my creativity. And essentially what I'm going to be going through is basically just an everyday routine that I would do just to go to work. I'm not going to work today. I've got a day off, which is great. But I am going to run some errands, and I like to get my face beat on even if I'm just going to the store. So I'm just going to go through my everyday routine and then talk a little bit about, as in the people who, I mean, the inspirations of why I basically started doing makeup in the first place, because I wasn't always a makeup person. So I've moisturized already, and this is the moisturizer that I'm using at the moment. This is the moisturizer that I've started using with when I wear makeup. Listen, I don't know anything about motherfucking skincare. If I did, my skin would probably look better than it does. Listen, I'm just only now trying to get good at skincare because I'm a woman of a particular age and I do happen to wear a lot of makeup. So, you know, you got to take care of the canvas and shit. So I'm like using more, I'm using sunscreen, I'm drinking more water, blah, blah, blah. But a lot of the sun damage and all that sort of stuff is already done. But yeah, so this is what I'm using. Oil of Olay is probably a real OG in the game. My mother has amazing skin and has been using Oil of Olay since she was in her teenage years. So listen, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So I've only just jumped onto the Oil of Olay bandwagon. After moisturizing with my Oil of Olay moisturizer, or whatever moisturizer I'm using at the time, I prime my skin. You gotta use the primer. I think everybody uses primers differently, because some people I know just use primer in the spot, so their face that are oily. I use primers everywhere because not only do I have oily skin, but I also got pores for days. Like pores for days. I have a whole range of primers that I use, but the Smashbox one is probably my favorite. It's my holy grail. I use the light one. I always find that even though I try to use different primers, I always tend to come back to this one. So that must mean something, right? So the next bit that I use is the Intensive Skin Serum Corrector by Bobbi Brown in Deep Peach. It looks like that, right? It's a color 15. I actually don't know if Bobbi Brown is making this anymore. You know, it's really hard to tell when people are making brands are still making stuff or not, because I'll find that in Australia in particular, people will be like, oh, we're not making this anymore. But does that mean you're not making it, or does that mean you're just not shipping it to us over here? You know what I mean? So I put this under my eyes because I do have dark circles under my eyes, which are no bueno. I don't actually like my dark circles. They're probably the least favorite part of my face. And the annoying part is that they're right in the center of my face. So as you can imagine, I'm not a fan. But honestly, that comes with, like, you know, I mean, part of it's probably is genetic, but a lot of it is, I mean, I work in a really busy industry, you know, team no sleep, unfortunately. Sleep deprivation, I got very good at dealing with sleep deprivation for many years. And yeah, and then also after you're over the hill, like after you're a woman of a particular age, you know, like when I was in my early 20s, I could just party for 4 days, pop up, you know, have a sleep, these dark circles will be gone. That is not the case anymore, my friends. That is not the case anymore. And I like sleep more, so we'll see how that pans out. For my everyday look, I currently use 2 of the Becca foundations. I don't have the other one with me at the moment, but this is the one that I'm using at the moment. It is the Becca Ultimate Coverage 24-Hour Foundation in the color Maple. Becca is an Australian brand. I also use their highlighters. My favorite one is the Topaz, which, listen, if you follow me on Instagram, you know it just fell on the ground and broke, and I haven't actually been back to Sephora to use it. This is the other highlighter that I do use, the Champagne Pop, which is also from Becca. I actually didn't, technically I already knew Becca whilst I was here, but I didn't know it was an Australian brand. I'd only ever used the highlighters from Becca, which, listen, these highlighters are the fucking truth. But it was not until I went to Paris, and I went to Sephora in Paris, and I was looking to see if they had the Estee Lauder foundation colors in a color between the color that I normally use and the next, you know, dark shade. And then the chick was like, well, I don't think Estee Lauder has that, but you know who will like make your face beat? Becca will. So she introduced me to Becca, and she's just like, I can't believe you don't know this because it's an Australian brand. And I was just like, oh, I kind of heard of it, but I just never thought their foundations were a thing. And honestly, a lot of my favorite YouTubers, I have never really seen them use or promote or whatever Becca. So there you go. I've got to pump it a bit. Pretty thick foundation, which I quite like because I do like full coverage foundations. And I use the Zoeva Silk Finish brush in 102. Zoeva brushes I got from what's this place called? Sephora. Like, I'm saying what's this place called as if I've only just discovered Sephora, but yeah, from Sephora. I personally really like Zoeva. I think their brushes are really soft and silky and just full and luscious, but they are expensive. So if you know, I'm sure there's lower end foundation brushes. I have a few, but not. I find that I reach to this one a lot, or these ones, because I've got a few of their foundation brushes. Anyway, let me get to talking about my makeup journey in general. So when I first moved to Australia, there were not that many women of color in the media. I mean, listen, there were not that many people of color in general, and by people of color, I'm specifically referring to black people, because there were plenty of Asians, there were plenty of people from the subcontinent, plenty of islanders, but in terms of us, there weren't that many. I remember when I first went to uni, like, we knew all of us who were on campus. Like, there were maybe like 12 of us, and we all knew each other. You know what I mean? In fact, there was one time, like, a bunch of us was like sitting in a group, and we saw a black guy walking across campus, and we were just like, wait, who is he? How do we not know who that person is? It was like that. Anyway, when I was growing up, I was a massive, a really, really big tomboy, and also grew up in a place where I didn't have to think about beauty when I was growing up, because it was all over, you know, it was all around me, you know, magazines, TV, everything was just full of beautiful black people all the time. You know what I mean? So like seeing images of people who look like me in the media was never a thought when I was growing up. So when I moved here when I was 19, and there was a very distinct lack of it, it was quite strange for me. It was not that it was strange. It was just it was a very noticeable absence for me. Like, I couldn't go to the store and pick up a magazine and then read, you know, the beauty section about things that I knew that would work for me. Does that make sense? And it also was a time in my life where, because I moved here when I was 19, and I'd been a tomboy for most of my life. So when I moved to Australia, I wanted to be more feminine. You know, I'd spent most of my teenage years, and even when I was a kid, being this massive tomboy. I dressed really, really hood, all that sort of thing, and I did want to be more feminine as I grew up into a woman. And part of that is obviously dressing differently and taking care of myself in a different way than I had. To be honest, I don't actually know what triggered that change in me, but that's definitely something that I want to do. Then I move all the way over here, and then I can't pick up a True Love, a Bona, you know what I mean, a Destiny, whatever. And, you know, the magazines that you had, the Mary Claire's, the what, they just didn't have... Look, they just didn't... There was no representation of us. And even on TV, if there was like a black person on TV, like, there was just one, and then they use that one woman for everything. so even then, you're like, okay, well, and that's when I started looking into other spaces for representations of beauty and my skin, and, you know, what product would work for me, and that's what sort of led me to the YouTube space. And I became a very avid YouTube watcher during that time. My very, very, very first dalliance into YouTubers in general, was with this beautiful YouTuber called Lauren Curtis. Now, I know what y'all are thinking. Lauren Curtis is actually not black. She's not at all. But she was really the first YouTuber that was, you know, doing the whole beauty thing that I found. And one of the things I really liked about her personally was how relatable she was. I finished my face with the Becca foundation, and you can see, like, does this not just suit me? Does it just not, like, make it so that all of my skin just looks like it's just together? Often, like, I'll go on, people are like, oh, your skin is so amazing, and I'll be like, no, no friend. It's really, really good makeup. Anyway, so this is another product that I found whilst I was in the Sephora in Paris, Black Up, which is a it's a black owned company as far as I know, and they cater specifically to women of color. I've always heard about Black Up on obviously off a lot of the YouTubers that I follow, but I just never got my hands on it, and I often am afraid to order stuff online when I don't actually know what my color is. And because a lot of the YouTubers that I follow are much darker than me, I don't know, I'm scared to like go according to their recommendations. Does that make sense? So like I like to be able to go to the store and like try stuff out for myself. So that's why, even though I've known about Black Up for years and years and years, I never actually tried their products until I physically was able to go and get one in my hand, try it on my skin, and be like, okay. So one of the videos that Lauren Curtis made very early in the piece that I watched, because I think I remember I just sort of sat down and like watched all her videos all at once one night, or not all of them at once, but I did there was definitely like a marathon. This was in the days before Netflix was ever a thing, you know what I mean, when we were busy doing LimeWire and, you know, all those things. Let me not incriminate myself, but yeah, so she did this video after she ended a relationship, and she read this book called, it's called The Breakup Because It's Broken, or something like that. And then she was going through all the stuff that she'd read in the book that had really resonated with her, and then obviously felt compelled to share it, and was talking about all these things that that she had obviously tolerated in the relationship or whatever, and she was basically just giving advice about how to get over this relationship and what had really worked for her. And that, I think, was the first moment that I was like sold on this Lauren Curtis chick. So I was like, she was like going through a rough time, and sort of shared it with the world, you know. So I am an OG Lauren Curtis fan, and her being, you know, whatever she was, didn't, you know, bother me. And to this day, I still rock with Lauren Curtis. So there's nothing nobody can say to me about her that would make me not be a fan, because she's seems like a really sweet person, because you never know, but yeah, she seems like a really sweet person. And I love how relatable she is, even regardless of how huge she's gotten. When I first moved to Australia, there was going to be no going to a drugstore to get any products. The only two places that you could get makeup for people of my skin color was basically Maya and David Jones. That was it. You know what I mean? And even if I did go to Priceline, because once I went to Priceline, and Priceline had Revlon and Maybelline, right? Which had dark colors. But honestly, like Maybelline, the darkest color they went was me. And they got rid of that. They got rid of that range, and I called Maybelline out on their Instagram page, which is crazy. And then Revlon didn't actually have that much in terms of a shade range. Like with like maybe 3 brown colors. There was like 1 darker than me, and they had like, you know, Lupita Nyong'o. Like there was no gradient. Whereas you will get like 10, 15 colors of alabaster. The next thing, I'm just gonna set my under eye at the moment with the Sacha Buttercup Setting Powder. Because I'm doing an everyday look, I don't do the whole here situation. I don't do that when I'm just leaving my house. I'll just do my under eye only. When I started doing makeup, I did what everybody does. I just went to you know, the MAC counter at the Maya, and they taught me how to use the products, and then I basically used those same products for years, and that's all I ever used. It didn't matter the situation, it didn't matter anything. Like I would just use those same products in the same way over and over again, until, you know, I woke up to myself and then decided, okay, I'm going to try something new. And that new for me was you know, hunting for other, you know, people who could tell me about other products, because I was just like, I didn't know anything else about makeup apart from MAC, you know, which is not my fault. It was just, there was just not that much available to us at the time, and you know, it was not like, you know, people were trying to put us on, because they really just, back in the day, they really were not. So the next YouTuber that I discovered was Shirley B. Enyang, who, listen, Shirley B is fire, right? I can honestly say that right now I don't actually follow her as much as I used to, but I was a like hardcore Shirley B. Enyang fan. And I can credit Shirley with 2 things. The first is like my love for black. Like I really love black. The monochrome look, particularly when I'm casual. Like most people who know me know that I wear bright colors most of the time, but when I'm just being casual, I'm just chilling at home, I'm just going to the grocery store, I'm usually just wearing black and white. And look, when I was growing up, I used to wear a lot of black, and my sisters used to say to me, oh, it's very mature, like you shouldn't be wearing just black all the time. But I guess I didn't wear it in a particularly chic or sophisticated way, and that chick, she showed me how to do that, okay? She did the damn thing. So Shirley was definitely like the next level up in terms of, you know, my beauty and style game. The next chick was Patricia Bright. Now, I still am a hardcore Patricia Bright fan, like hardcore. like super hardcore Patricia Bright fan. I loved her energy. I still do, you know. She is super positive, like regardless of what is going on, which I quite like. She's really like super friendly, or seems super friendly, really positive. And I love the variety of what she showed. I think in terms of skills and technique, she was the reason that I learned a lot of the technique, and also spoke a lot about the skin concerns that trouble black women. You know, the difference between color, like matching stuff with your neck, all that kind of thing. Listen, Patricia Bright did the damn thing. Then the next person, which is also a massive YouTuber, Jackie Aina. Like, now, if you are a woman of color and you don't know who Jackie Aina is, like, where have you been? Because Jackie Aina is 100%. She's the truth. And I don't understand how I discovered her, like, last or towards the end of everybody else, but I definitely discovered her later than a lot of these other YouTubers that I followed. And yeah, she is just this hilarious, really chill, really cool. Also tries a really big variety of products. And I also did enjoy her philosophy of what she was doing, like why she created the YouTube channel. And let me tell you something, as a woman of color, like that, I can totally understand that, because we didn't have a space, you know. Now in this beauty industry these days, people are making stuff for us, blah blah, but honestly, they still don't think of, nobody thinks about us first. So to have somebody who's big on women of color, black is beautiful, you know, our dollars count as much as everybody else's, somebody whose philosophy hasn't changed from day one to now, listen, I'm here for it. So, and it was through her that I discovered Jenny Jenkins, or Beauty by JJ, who, again, another massive YouTuber that I still follow, who I 100% rate. And one of the things I really liked about Jenny, listen, I don't know what she's like in person, you know, and honestly, to be fair, I really don't care, because that's not my MO. That's not why I'm following her. But she was, of the YouTubers, I felt like she was the most brutally honest about, if a product was whack, she'd just be like, look. She didn't mince words or whatever. So I really like that about her, you know. So, yeah, so those are probably my favorite YouTubers of color who just, you know, I personally credit with teaching me the things that I needed to know about makeup. They are by no means the only ones. So I have to give a massive shout out to some of the others, specifically Peak Mill. Like, Peak Mill, love her. She's dope, super real. I don't think, she also doesn't try to be anything that she's not, which I really appreciate, and also is extremely relatable. So I did love her as well. There's another one, the chick natural, or the chic natural, I don't know how she says it, but she did a lot of like hair stuff, which again, listen, when I first moved here, okay, to get my hair done, like when I lived in Gaborone, I would just be able to go across the street, the hairdressers there, wash, do the most. I wouldn't even have to have an idea of what like sort of hairstyle that I wanted when I went over there. Over here, to get my hair done was like a trip. Like, I'd either have to get friends to get my hair done, or I'd have to travel, you know, to the deep dark recesses of Dandenong to get my hair done. You know what, and there was nothing wrong with trying to Dandenong to get my hair done, but I was a broke medical student. I didn't have money. I didn't have time, I didn't have transportation for that sort of thing. So just, you know, learning about how to do my own hair and that sort of thing, YouTube was also amazing for that. So where were we? We did the Sacha Buttercup, we did that. We then applied some eyebrow products, which are all, I use the Benefit eyebrow products, which are here. So we've got the Group Roof Brow Pencil in the color 6. That's how I shape my brows. It has a pencil on one end and the thingy on the other end, the spoolie on the other end, this was called. And it's an all-in-one product. I really like this one. I know Benefit has recently released that one that has you know, the pencil that has all these different things inside the pencil. Listen, I am a woman who's extremely time poor. I do not have time to be using 300 different products to do one job, okay? If you can give me one product that does more than one job, then I'm happy. And I also use the 24-hour brow setter from Benefit. This sets my eyebrows, makes them look laid all the time. Listen, they probably look really good now because I actually got them threaded just yesterday. But that is what I do. I mean, I know a lot of people like do this thing where they make it less full here and then it gets fuller as you go. Like, I mean, look, I could do that, but to be fair, like, this works just as well. So this is what I do. I think if I'm trying to look ultra glam for a night out, then I will do the most. But listen, I am literally just going to the grocery store, and I'm gonna go and pick up my dry cleaning. So unless I'm gonna meet Prince Charming today, there's no reason for me to be like doing the most. I then contoured with the Anastasia Beverly Hills contour kit, tan to deep. You can see which color I use. I basically just use this one to contour. And listen, I'm not gonna lie, like you can see like a little bit of contour, you know, but I'm not a contour queen. I'm not one of those, you know, contour here, you know, here. I don't know how, I don't know how to do it. Like you see my nose, you know how like it looks like it doesn't have any dimension. You know why it doesn't look like it doesn't have dimension? Because it doesn't have dimension. I've got a really flat nose bridge, and to my, like, in my head I'm just like, why would I like try to make my nose look like something that is not? This is what my God-given nose, and you know, y'all are just gonna have to just deal with that nose, okay, that sort of disappears into my face, because I'm cool with it. So there you go. I contour with this brush, which is the blooming brush from Bare Minerals. I'm pretty sure I got this from Priceline. I'm pretty sure I got it from Priceline. I actually quite like it. It's quite good to put a little angle on it. It's quite to do the damn thing. Next we're gonna use a MAC product for my blush. Listen, I have been using this same product, Real Eye Skin Finish, in the color Sun Power, since the very first time that I told y'all that I use MAC. That was in 2000 and what that I started using this, okay? And I have not strayed from this as my cheek thing, my blush or whatever you call it, okay? I'll tell you why. A couple of reasons. First of all, it looks like a really natural color for me, number one. Number two, like, I mean, I know there's brown people who blush with pinks and reds. The reason I don't is because that doesn't look natural to me, and I wear makeup. I don't wear makeup to not look like myself. I wear makeup to look like my best self. I still want to look like me, but just look like the best version of me, the edited, slayed, filtered version of me, right? Especially because I wear makeup every day. I'm not, anyway. So I just don't like colors that just make no sense. And a red or whatever on me doesn't make any sense. It doesn't. Pink doesn't make any sense. So that's why I wear this color. But before I use it, I forgot one more step that I normally do. I do use a powder all over my face. The two that I normally use, depending on the foundation that I use, because it really depends foundation wise. This is from Bobbi Brown. This is the Sheer Finish Pressed Powder in Golden Orange, which for a moment they stopped making, and they made one called Golden Yellow instead, which I really didn't like. It was just too yellow. But then they started making this one again, which is amazing. And wrong one. This is from Becca again. Becca doing his damn thing. The Perfect Skin Mineral Powder Foundation in Tobacco. You can see that I use this a whole lot, because it's basically on pan. I probably need to get a new one soon. But again, it depends. Like when I use this one, I tend to use this if my foundation tends to be on the light side. This one I tend to use if the foundation is not too light, but I don't want there to be as much color. I don't want the powder to add as much color. So I'm going to use this one. Now I'm like rushing now because my battery is just about to finish. But I just charged this thing 2 minutes ago. I don't understand why it's behaving like this. And last but not least, Sun Power on the balls of my cheeks. For this one, I'm using this is the MAC brush. You can't see the handwriting on it anymore, because I've had it for that long and I've used it for that long that the colors, the weights, they are good. They're good. Alright. Then once I'm done with all that, the All-Nighter Urban Decay Spray. Makeup setting spray. Listen, if you don't have this in the makeup kit, then what are you doing with your life? This is what you need. You need this. Use now, thank me later. Like, it doesn't matter whether you're going to work, go to the club. This is what you need. I mean, listen, I have tried other things, for real, and I used other things. I don't have my fan on me at the moment, so I'm just going to use my little thingy-majig. I tried other things. I tried the, you know, the MAC Prep and Prime. I tried the Kat Von D. I've tried the Makeup Forever. Listen, none of them work as well as this one does, so just don't waste your money on the others. Just buy this one. We're on the home stretch, people, so for those of you who are now getting tired, relax. We're on the home stretch. Now, I do love me some Kat Von D. I do have the foundation. I do find it very, very, very heavy for every day, so I don't actually use it every day. And because I don't have problematic skin on that level, I only tend to use it when I'm going out, or if I need it to like stay put because I need to wear makeup all day and I need it not to budge because I need to look beautiful all day long. But I do love the tattoo liner in Trooper from Kat Von D. This is the truth. It is. So use it and then thank me later. Okay, just thank me later. I've got like 2 of them because they don't dry out quickly, but they do dry out eventually. My normal everyday thing is just to do a little bit of a cat's eye at the end. I stretch the eye out so I can get that sort of sleek line, and then I do a little bit of a cat's eye at the end. There's a little hint of a cat's eye. Now, as you can see, my lashes are already popping, so I don't, because these are falsies, I don't like to put too much product in them because I want it to like, because when you know how when you cleanse them, you are putting them at risk of putting like the gunk and all that sort of stuff, and then you have to wash them and then they fall out and all that sort of stuff. So I use the bare minimum on my lashes actually, and I only got them done yesterday, so I just feel like they're popping right now where they don't need that too much help. Now for my lips, I've got 2 products from Kat Von D. So I've got the Everlasting Lip Liner in Crucifix, and the, what is this one? Everlasting Liquid Lip Stick in Bow and Arrow. God, like, his handwriting is so small. Like, why, dude? Anyway, and when I do go out and I just do a natural look, personally, I keep looking in my screen, but I need to look in my mirror. I like to do a variation on a nude lip. And I also love liquid lipsticks that don't budge. I also love a matte lip. I don't like shiny lips. And Kat Von D happens to do an amazing matte lip. They do get dry eventually, but look, honey, you can't say that Kat Von D doesn't stay put, because if there's one thing that Kat Von D does is stay put. All the products, the tattoo liner, the foundation, the lip stuff, they stay all the way put. So yeah, no, I like a matte lip, so that is what a matte lip on me looks like. It looks a bit pink on the screen, but in real life it looks extremely brown, and that's what I like. Alright, and there we go. That's my finished look. I had to, my battery died, so I had to go and charge my battery, and whilst I was doing that, I just finished up cooking my meal, doing my meal prep, and I straightened my wig, and there you go. This is a unit that a friend of mine made for me. But yeah, I think it's absolutely bomb. Who's it trying to? Oh yes, this is my Kelly Rowland inspired wig. She had like hair like this before, and I absolutely love it. It's like, it's hot as hell underneath here, but it looks cute with hail. It looks cute as hell, if I do say so myself. So yeah, that's my first attempt at making a video, which honestly is really, really strange, talking to nothing. It's bizarre. Anyway, so yeah, we'll see how this goes. I'll post it at some point and share it with you lot and see what you think.